We need to talk about David's Tesla, the very Tesla where 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, her body was found September 8th in the frunk of the Tesla. Sorry, I hate using that word, but allegedly she was not only decomposed, and excuse me for just speaking so bluntly, but she was also allegedly dismembered as well. And I have learned that this Tesla was reportedly only with the LAPD in evidence for 48 hours before it was released. That is concerning, and I'm going to share why, as well as some other things that I recently learned. But I mean, I'm just thinking about this, and no one has been charged in connection with the death of poor Celeste. So this is not a perfectly accurate comparison, but Karen Reed, she was accused of hitting her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, police officer John O'Keefe, with her car, killing him in 2022. She was eventually charged with murder to manslaughter, but her car was taken away, impounded, let's say, by the Massachusetts State Police, and she never got it back. Literally, she never got it back, and it went to auction. And granted, she was eventually charged, but I'm just like, wait, there was literally the body of a little girl found in that car, and the police only held it for 48 hours. Okay, we're going to get into that in a minute, and I learned about this through Steve Fisher. He had obtained some paperwork having to do with the Tesla. And Steve Fisher, if you are not aware, he is a PI that is working on this case. He was hired by somebody connected, and that's pretty much out there. The homeowner who owned the home that David was staying in the Hollywood Hills, or David was renting, they hired Steve to look into this because, you know, their home was essentially at the center of this as well, because David lived there. And there were rumors that Celeste was there from time to time. So I think he did the right thing hiring Steve. Additionally, Steve, I believe, and Steve has not confirmed this, but I believe he also has testified in front of the grand jury that is convened in this case. I'm almost certain of it, even though Steve hasn't come right out and said it to us. I think a lot of us, just based on what we know, we can speculate that he also did that. But I want to just talk about the Tesla for a second, because many of us, when we first heard the news about this, we were like, okay, well, there are 9 cameras in a Tesla. So I feel like police should be able to pinpoint who was the last person who drove the car, possibly who was the last person that moved the car. I mean, they should have all of this information, you know, based on these cameras. So I did some research about Teslas in general. And again, I didn't know a ton about them, but the Teslas do have a total of up to 9 cameras on these Model Ys, which is what David had. And it's 8 on the outside and 1 camera on the inside. So I was thinking, okay, well, how long do these cameras store this footage? Is it possible that footage was already deleted? Is it possible that the owner can manually delete footage? I didn't know. So cameras on these Teslas while driving are always recording in a loop, but it only the most recent footage is stored. So when I say most recent, that means the system keeps roughly the last 45 to 60 minutes of footage looped in the storage. But the footage is automatically overwritten unless you save a clip manually by tapping something on the dash cam icon, or just, you know, whatever your Tesla instructs you to do on how to save it. So, you know, if you get in an accident or maybe someone hits you, you can go ahead and sort of save that right away in order to move forward with a potential case. So that right there, I'm like, okay, so things overwrite itself pretty much every hour unless you save it. So we'll just go ahead and assume that the inside dash cam footage is done. It's done. I mean, there was probably nothing there At the time, I'm thinking, I don't think this person, the last person who drove the Tesla, would necessarily save it. But my guess is that didn't help police at all. So there's something called Sentry Mode. And when that is enabled, and that is while the Tesla is parked, the car watches for, quote, security events while parked, and it saves only clips if something triggers it. Meaning, like if someone leans on the car or touches it, or there's like suspicious movement that wouldn't normally happen while the car is parked. So the car still stores clips on the USB drive that you are given with this Tesla. It doesn't permanently store them on board. So I guess what I'm trying to say is this USB, you can do what you want with it. You can delete the footage from the USB. You can keep it, but basically the USB drive is in your possession. I mean, I'm thinking that police did have some kind of subpoena for this USB drive. I mean, they had to have, I would think, or when they searched David's house, maybe they found this USB drive and they took it. But yeah, I feel like none of this is super helpful unless they have that. I mean, right? Like I just don't see at this point how the car sitting there for, I think, we don't know exactly, or maybe we do know exactly. It's been a minute, but I think maybe the car was sitting there for upwards of 8 weeks or so. So the footage that will be recorded on there would most likely be the most recent. So again, I just don't think, I don't think it would be super helpful. And also, I read that Tesla vehicles, they don't automatically upload all camera recordings to Tesla. Again, recordings are stored locally on your USB drive, and they are not sent to Tesla unless you opt in to limited data sharing. So I don't know. I would think that David probably didn't do that, but of course, I don't know for sure. I guess I'm just thinking it really sounds like, yeah, it's number one, the footage overwrites itself, especially inside. And then outside, it's only if you're saving this stuff to a USB, and then you have to literally give somebody access to this USB, and then they can look. So that was something that I was like, oh, wow, that is a little bit concerning. And that's also why it's like, hey, we don't necessarily have all of the information. So that's another reason why this investigation is probably taking so long. But again, back to Steve. So Steve was able to obtain some information, and he tweeted out that basically David's Tesla, the vehicle in which Celeste was found, it was held by the LAPD for only 48 hours to process evidence. So after that, it was returned to the impound lot for David to retrieve, which is insane. That is insane to me. It's like, oh, right. Okay, there is a body in your car, but we're going to remove that. We're going to check some things out. Then we're going to give it back to you. Really? Really? I mean, is there something I don't know here? Because that doesn't sound great. But again, I don't pretend to know everything. So David, now, I'm not saying he retrieved the Tesla, but he had not retrieved it until January 30th. That was 3 days ago. So the Tesla was actually scheduled to go to auction at 9 a.m. on January 31st. So Steve had planned to go and inspect it, but in the final hours before it went to auction, David, or someone with, power of attorney acting on his behalf, picked it up. And Steve said when he checked last week, the storage fees were around $10,000 as the vehicle had been, released and ready for pickup since September 10th, and no one had picked it up yet, which again is just crazy that they had let it sit there, accrue all these fees when they were, allowed to have it back, which again is so crazy. So Steve also mentioned that the car was released to a new individual who had picked it up, or maybe after this person picked it up on David's behalf. there was a transfer. So it was registered to a new individual. The ownership of the vehicle was transferred, and now this new person has this car, which again is just crazy to me. I mean, it's crazy. I want to just say that, this car is a $50,000 car. And David, as of 2025, he was worth $3 million. He doesn't seem like the type of person to just kind of throw away a vehicle like this. But yeah, I mean, it just makes me think, like, what was going on? What was the so-called plan here? I mean, you had to have known, and I'm guessing you had to have known Celeste was allegedly your friend, maybe more. I don't have, evidence of maybe more, but maybe. So she was your friend, and she was in pieces, deceased in your trunk. And I mean, and you were on tour. What was going on? What was somebody supposed to do something and they didn't do it? I mean, I don't even know, because why would it sit there for so long? Why? I don't know. Again, more questions, but I wanted to put that out there for everybody so you can think on it as well, because again, I'm still going through all of this in my head, and it just, it helped me to do the research on the Tesla. I will say that, to sort of sift through what these cameras do, if they do keep footage on their own, which, yeah, it doesn't sound great. So, I mean, it's just one more thing here. And then also one more thing that really is perplexing. 48 hours, and we're just going to return the car back to you, sir. No issues, no problem. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening and for watching. Like and subscribe here at Los Angeles Magazine if you don't already. I'm Lauren Conlon. I do these podcasts pretty much daily on scandals and crime news, and we're happy to have you here. But man, justice for Celeste.